Think you were born in the wrong generation? Trust me, it could have been much, much worse. Here are the worst times in history to be born as a human. Welcome to the year 536. If you thought 2020 was a disaster, oh no. Historians agree that 536 was the worst year to be alive in human history. Let me set the scene. You wake up one morning expecting sunlight, but the sky? Permanently gray. The sun? Gone. Not night, not quite day, just a never-ending twilight. Why? A massive volcanic eruption, possibly in Iceland, shot ash so high into the atmosphere that sunlight couldn't break through for 18 months. Yep, the Earth basically hit low brightness mode for a year and a half. And the consequences? Crops failed worldwide. Temperatures dropped 2-3 degrees Celsius globally. Famines spread like bad reviews on Yelp. Entire civilizations struggled to survive. Congratulations, you've been born into the planet's longest, gloomiest power outage. But wait, there's more. Just when the world was already down bad, in 541 AD, something new popped up. The first recorded bubonic plague. The plague of Justinian swept across the Byzantine Empire, killing up to 50 million people, nearly half the population of Europe. So if you were born in 536, here's your life plan. No sun, no crops, no food, and eventually, no neighbors. Modern scholars call it the start of the worst century to be alive. People at the time probably just called it, "What the hell is happening?" So next time you complain about a bad day, just remember, you weren't born in 536. Congratulations! You've just been born in medieval Europe in 1347. Your first breath? It's filled with incense, dead rats, and the sound of coughing from 3 blocks away. Welcome to the party, the Black Death is here. You are now one of the unluckiest humans ever born. Why? Because 1 out of every 3 people you know will be dead by next summer. Your doctor doesn't believe in germs. Instead, he thinks disease comes from bad smells and planets being moody. So his solution is to wave incense at you while slapping leeches on your tiny baby body. No antibiotics, no soap, no sewer system. Oh, and don't expect diapers. It's just rags and hay, buddy. People are dying so fast there aren't enough priests to bless them. So folks start saying, well, I guess we'll just throw the bodies in the river. Then they drink the river. Nice. If you sneeze in public, you might be accused of witchcraft. If your parents die, you get sent to a monastery. If you survive to age 5, you're a medieval superhero. But hey, silver lining. You won't have to worry about student loans or traffic. You will, however, have to worry about rats. Lots of rats. And in the year 1347, the rats always win. Have you ever thought you were born in the wrong era? No iPhones as a kid? Missed TikTok until 8th grade? Tough life. But at least you weren't born in the middle of a nuclear explosion. Back in August 1945, Japan was in its final days of World War II. People in Hiroshima and Nagasaki were thinking, maybe the war's finally ending. Well, not quite. On the 6th of August at 8:15 a.m., a little something called Little Boy dropped on Hiroshima. The temperature at ground zero? Nearly 7,000 degrees Celsius. Everything within 2 kilometers? Gone. Vaporized. And believe it or not, some women were in labor when it happened. Yes, there were babies being born during a nuclear blast. Some survived, some didn't. But those who did had to grow up with radiation in their bones, literally. They were called hibakusha survivors of the bomb. And while most babies cry when they're born, some of them, there wasn't enough air to cry. 3 days later, on the 9th of August, Fat Man hit Nagasaki. Again, more children were born inside crumbling hospitals, surrounded by flames, ash, and chaos. One mother later recalled, "I didn't know what that sound was. I just remember. I was pushing." These children grew up weak, sick, some with cancer, all because of a war they didn't even understand. So next time you complain about waking up early, your phone dying, or getting caught in the rain, remember, some people were born as the city around them exploded. Ever wondered what's the absolute worst time to be born as a male human? Let me introduce you to Germany 1914. Because if you were born then, you basically unlocked hard mode, Human History Edition. You were born just as World War I kicked off. Your dad got shipped to the trenches, your mom got food rations. You grew up with air raid sirens and bread that tasted like sadness. By the time you turned 4, Germany lost, and your family got hit with war debt and boiled potatoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Every night you heard your dad mutter, "The French took our soul and our sausages." Your childhood? Good luck. You lived through hyperinflation. It took a whole wheelbarrow of cash to buy a loaf of bread. You carried money in sacks and still couldn't afford dinner because prices rose while you counted. Then you turned 20? Hello, Hitler Youth. You were drafted to march, salute, and learn to blame people for everything. By 25, surprise. World War II. If you're lucky, you're carrying a rifle. If not, you're under a bombing raid. By 1945, you're nearly 30. You think, maybe now I can rest. Wrong. Germany splits. Which side are you on? If it's East Germany, congratulations, comrade. You now get no fuel, no butter, 2 television channels, and endless propaganda. If it's West Germany, here's a shovel. You'll be spending your 30s rebuilding the country, brick by brick. To recap, being born in Germany in 1914 means you survive 2 world wars, 1 economic collapse, 1 dictatorship, and a country split in half with 0 chill in between. Who needs time travel to visit hell when you can just be born in Germany 1914? You think you had a rough birth story? Try this on for size. Imagine being born in the 17th century. Not in a hospital, not in a hut, but on a slave ship crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, your first breath? Inside a pitch-black wooden hull packed with 200 chained people, no windows, and an aroma best described as death meets seawater. Lovely. Your crib? A rag tied to a beam above a bucket full of human waste. Cozy. No lullabies. No warm milk. Just screams, whip cracks, seasickness, and prayers you won't get tossed overboard for crying too loud. Because that happened. Newborns on slave ships were often considered non-profitable cargo, and if they cried too much or looked weak, they were discarded, like overripe fruit. And if you survived, well, congrats. You now belong to someone. You are not a person. You are property. A live item on a manifest priced per pound, renamed by your future owner, and possibly branded. Born on a slave ship, you don't get a birthday. You don't get a homeland. You don't get freedom. You just get a label, and a future that starts in chains. Welcome to Pompeii, land of wine, public baths, parties, and one very bad day. It's the year 79 AD. Life's pretty good. People are chilling, scribbling graffiti on the walls, baking bread, and throwing parties like it's always Friday. And right next door? a big, quiet mountain called Mount Vesuvius. Nobody's too worried about it, it's just there. Then came the 24th of August. That quiet mountain? Boom, it explodes like a shaken bottle of Coke with Mentos inside. A giant cloud shoots 30 kilometers into the air. People in Pompeii look up and go, "Huh, weird weather today." They keep cooking, drinking, living their lives. They have no idea they're about to become history. By afternoon, it starts raining ash, not cute little flakes, but waves of boiling hot death dust mixed with rocks and toxic gas. The sky turns black. People run, some hide. Some freeze, literally. Bodies were later found in mid-scream, mid-bite, mid-poop. Yes, really. About 2,000 people died. Pompeii was buried in ash for over 1,600 years, forgotten by the world. And when archaeologists dug it up, they found everything. Ovens, pots, jewelry, and even graffiti that basically said, "Great wine, hot girls, out of money." Pompeii became a time capsule, frozen in the exact moment disaster struck. So if you were born in Pompeii on the 24th of August, 79 AD, congrats, you had about 3 hours to live your best life, before becoming a very dramatic museum exhibit. Welcome to the Middle Ages, a magical time when sneezing could be fatal and medicine was basically improv comedy with blood. You had a fever? Let's drain your blood to cool you down. Headache? Too much blood in the brain. Drain some more. Swollen leg? Slap a leech on it, problem solved. Yes, bloodletting and leech therapy were top-tier medical practices, and the people who did it, they were called barber surgeons because back then, your hairdresser also did surgery. Imagine getting a haircut and hearing, "Would you like a blood draw with that, sir?" People believed the body had 4 main fluids: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. If you got sick, that meant the fluids were imbalanced. So, naturally, the answer was, bleed them out. Because logic. And leeches? These little vampires were the celebrities of medicine. Pharmacies literally kept jars of them ready to go. They believed leeches could suck the disease right out of your body. Spoiler, they mostly just sucked your blood. Even royalty weren't safe. King Charles II of England died after doctors drained 400 milliliters of blood in a few hours. They also gave him 40 different medicines, rubbed him with animal dung, and made him inhale smoke from a burning fish head. Yup, that was medicine. So, next time you have a cold and reach for Tylenol, just remember, at least no one's sticking leeches on your face.